Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much. Welcome to the nominees for your positions. And I know that you probably have given a statement that I haven't been able to read yet, so we'll look at that. But I wanted to ask you about this pressing issue on tariffs. First, Dr. Mulligan, do you think that the President's tariff-first approach is helpful to small business? Can you describe the impact of tariffs on Mexico and Canada, two of our largest trading partners, what you think that would have on small businesses?
Thank you for your question. It's good to see you again. Trade policy absolutely must consider the concerns of small businesses, and Congress created an independent office to advocate for them. President Trump, more than any president in U.S. history, has prioritized getting that chief counsel position filled. If it goes unfilled too long, we could be in a position where it is mainly the big companies that are heard around trade policy rather than the small ones.
Okay, did you have, so you think in general, because there's less flexibility or maneuvering, you're saying it could be a bigger concern?
And also that their voice in Washington is weak without having an office like advocacy at full capacity and full efficiency.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think that we should be doing to communicate about the impact of tariffs on those small businesses?
One thing, very important, maybe the primary thing that the Office of Advocacy does is go out to the small businesses where they are. They don't require them to know what phone number to call or where to visit in Washington, what door and what elevator to use. Go out to them, sometimes in virtual mode as well, especially for the rural, and listen. Just listen, write down, and come back to the makers of the policy, which trade policy or other agencies, and tell them, hey, here's the concerns that we heard from our businesses. And the RFA requires you to consider those concerns when you make your policy decision.
Thank you. Mr. Briggs, do you have any comments?
With respect to, thank you, Senator Cantwell, for the question. I just would note that from my understanding of the tariff proposal, part of that is to bring back manufacturing, onshore manufacturing to this country. We've seen some initial indicators based on employment numbers that 11,000 manufacturing jobs in the last or the previous month were started. I do think that this is part of a larger effort to ultimately do that, to bring back manufacturing to the country.
Well, I definitely agree with you on the manufacturing jobs, and I would say to my colleague from Ohio who was ably chairing the meeting that I'm very concerned because I think that we have brought back jobs in manufacturing jobs into the United States because of the CHIPS and Science Act. So the president right now, it's a different story, but is saying, I don't, maybe he wants to get rid of that. I would say for places like Ohio and Arizona and Texas, it has absolutely brought manufacturing back. And in the state of Washington, it's brought manufacturing back. Why we should care is because manufacturing jobs help people go from working class to middle class because they're good paying jobs. And they help small businesses in that region help build an ecosystem. So I do think the president's statement that somehow he could have gotten there, he could have gotten the semiconductor industry to come back and manufacture in the United States by tariffs. I don't agree with that. We may have a philosophical difference there. But the point is that I hear so many people saying that we haven't grown manufacturing jobs, and the Biden administration, because of those policies, did grow manufacturing jobs. So now the question is, how do we put pedal to the metal and keep growing it? And one of the things that I think a lot of people have been discussing is how can the policies of the Small Business Administration with access to capital and targeting some of these supply chain issues give the American economy a leg up. So, for example, in my state, we have a lot of 3 different fusion companies. Now, we'll see if fusion technology is really here today. Senator Risch and I chair a fusion caucus. Well, it's a group that's made recommendations to the United States about how we would accelerate. But when you think about CHIPS and Science, it's about let's get the test bedding done, let's get the next generation done, and then let's make sure we have the supply chain to accelerate, and if we can, just accelerate now, whether it's fusion or something else. Let's start working with our supply chains and small businesses so that they are providing those products here in the United States. And so I just want to, do you think that's a smart strategy?
Senator, thank you for your question. And I assume you're addressing me, not Dr. Mulligan.
Yes, because of your deputy administrator, yeah.
I generally support your remarks that manufacturing can start a small business ecosystem. My focus, if I'm confirmed, is to help bring back that manufacturing renaissance, but also to make sure that SBA's core programs are functioning as best as possible to serve those small businesses that might come about from a manufacturing renaissance under the Trump administration.
Yeah, my statement was just a little different. It said that the test bedding of next generation technology, the CHIPS and Science Act is about speeding up the advancement of technology to happen faster than it normally would, because these big companies or large organizations may not have the money to do the kind of research to do the actual test bedding. But once the test bedding's done, it's like we're off to the races. Okay, now how do we continue to lead? And I think it's not that manufacturing would draw the supply chain or the ecosystem. Is what could SBA do to help build that and be cognizant of those opportunities. And so I do think that when you think about the AI situation, oh my gosh, my time's almost over. So, but you think about what happened with ChatGPT. Here we go. We basically demonstrated, a major milestone that happened in AI, and then immediately China goes and tries to knock off one aspect of that on how to do it in a cheaper fashion. So I think hand in hand with being the leaders in technology and innovation is then how do we continue to lead on the small business and supply chain side of getting those products and resources there so that ecosystem can be more aggressively grown. I do think that our great prowess as a nation is to outpace other countries on the R&D and implementation. So anyway, thank you so much. I will have some more questions for the record, but thank you so much.